think the impact long term will be because of the history that is going to be drawn out on the wall. So it's going to tell newcomers and people who haven't been here for a while how it really started, you know, and I just love the seed to harvest theme that's going on there, because it really started as an idea in somebody's mind. And now we're here 50 years later still doing the same thing. So I think that that'll be the greatest impact, because it'll tell the story.
From the church all the way up will be the history. So it'll be, a lot of people don't know where the name Parchester came from. It came from Fred Parr, who was the gentleman who owned this land and was willing to sell to African Americans, because prior to that it was written in the books that African Americans could rent, but they could not own property in Richmond, California. And so he was the first to allow that. So you'll get to see an actual picture of Fred Parr and all of the wonderful preachers, which all of our streets are named after, how that came to be. And then you'll get to see the roller derby and the store that we used to have. And yes, we had 2 churches, but we also had a juke joint. So you'll get to see the rendezvous or pictures from the rendezvous. So I'm really excited about those first 8 or 9 panels that's telling the history of how Parchester became to be.
Yeah, I think the typewriter might be a bit big, but I think how he is like outside the frame. I think he fits perfectly. How he, you know, kind of like on the quarter side of this side.
Yeah, pictures of me with the typewriter so I could get the hands, you know.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to and get them reasonably accurate.
Yeah, when I was telling Lori and the neighborhood council, you know, just kind of like the paper theme of him like writing out his idea or the grant, you know, there's got to be some paperwork, right? So I don't know, maybe having some, I don't know. I haven't pinned it down yet, but you know, having some of the paper turn into like origami or somehow, some way, and then like when remember that panel where I had the rabbit, the hair?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like maybe having like the hair and like some baby bunnies, and maybe one of them can be like an origami one.
Sure,
you know?
sure, yeah.
So it's, you know, it kind of just stands out. It's like right there. I had like a dream of it.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. What's your name? What do you do?
Yeah. Well, to introduce myself, my name is John Worley, and I'm a visual artist, painter, sculptor, part-time musician, and painting large-scale art for the most part in recent years. So I've enjoyed collaborating with other artists. It's kind of a different situation each time. You want to find someone whose work you like or you respect, and then you know, in this instance, I'm sort of a hired gun, so you know, my job is just to bring things to the table, you know, that may or may not work.
Creatures and birds and butterflies, you know, go all the way through. And, you know, coyotes could probably poking out behind trees, you know, under trees. You could have, there's bees, there's dragonflies, you know.
Yeah.
And basically you take any of those and just.
I got involved in public art in Richmond when I first came to, when my wife and I first moved to town back in 1988. And I had already established a career doing public art, and they had, at that point, a nascent art commission. So I applied for a project on McDonald Avenue, which is the first one that they commissioned, myself and Rigo. For whatever reason, my skills or my track record, you know, I got the job, and that was how I started painting murals in Richmond, and I've done quite a few since then. I keep motivated in my art practice by, you know, practicing discipline, by working in the studio or working every day on something. Not that I don't take breaks, but it's really a part of my core being, you know. If I don't do something creative for a while, I really start to not feel myself. In terms of inch to foot.
My name is Richard Muro Salazar. I'm a muralist, a fabricator, and I do a lot of public art. The way I got involved in public art in Richmond was through Tootie at Pogo Park. Opened the doors to start creating art for the public and public spaces. So I think that's where like my mentality really kind of shifted as an artist, and really trying to create for the public and the space at the same time, and being able to create programs and events. It's me and John. It's me and John.
Yes. When we go paint.
Huh?
When we go paint.
No paint? Oh, because this is just for the sketches, but we're going to be painting in the next few months. So by spring, hopefully we can start painting. Parches, Parchester.
You know, if we could like kind of do a little background included in Parchester too. What is it, the Ohlone Indians? Because I really believe that it was their land. So maybe in the letters, I don't know, maybe we can do some symbols, something, give a tribute. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And then walks in, you're walking into pretty much Pompano, into the forest. So it starts going into the trees.
Because there used to be trees right there by the roadside before you got to.
Yeah.
Remember the last time you were here, we had trees up there. So, bring back some memories.
You start walking into the trees, into the forest with huge logs and stumps.
My name is Garetha Johnson, but most of my friends call me Rita, and I'm the president of the Parchester Neighborhood Council. I lived in Parchester all my life. I grew up here, and I left in maybe in 1975, and I came back in 1984 to raise my daughter. We started planning the larger sections of the mural back in 2020. That's when Meredith homes were going to be built. And as part of a stipulation from the city, 1.5% of the project's budget has to go towards a public art project. And so they contacted me, and that's when we started the meetings about having the mural put on the retainer wall on Giant Road in Parchester. Well, actually up here there was a gas station, community center, a grocery store, a juke joint, a barber shop. We had a little grant. Because it was self-contained.
Yeah.
So we really didn't have to leave out of the village for anything other than to go to work. But you came home and you did everything right here. And Mr. Chin, he has a store on South 23rd.
Right now?
Well, I don't know. I know he's not here because he would be like 180 years old, but his store is still, he had that one on South 23rd and the one in Parchester. So we had everything.
What happened to everything?
The Hilltop Mall opened up, and so everybody started taking their money there. Bringing the money here, and so the living depleted. You know how it does. Yeah.
Yeah, and the irony is that Walmart got to the mall.
Right.
And they
everybody,
took it
that's right.
out.
See?
Yeah.
Is everybody right?
That's a good idea.
Huh?
That's a good idea.
There were Caucasians that wanted to buy, and they had money down, and they found out that black people were allowed to buy. This is the first city, because you know it was illegal to sell to blacks. Parchester was the first neighborhood in the Bay Area that allowed black people. It might be in the country.
It was
definitely in the Bay Area.
It was a revolutionary. It was a revolutionary idea for its time.
Right,
to
but because it wasn't allowed, right?
Yeah.
So when they start pulling out,
it
that's
was
how
a one
he
of a
got
kind project in the country.
Right, that's how he got up with, and all this started from him going fishing, and he looked over and saw all this land and went, I could do something with that. And so he, and he went to the preacher and said, listen, I'll still sell to you, but you need to bring me some people. So they went into the congregations. I didn't know that my aunt came from San Francisco.
Yeah, because we had people from all over.
All over. And that's why.
We had every profession here.
Exactly. I had doctors on my street because it was every African American that could buy wanted to buy. And he's like, you got jobs? I'll sell to you. And that's how it came. Fred Parr said, all money is green. I don't care. Just bring me the people. And that's why all the streets are named after the preachers. Because the preachers went to the congregation and said, okay, black people, if you want to buy a house,
Come here.
you need to come to here. This is a neighborhood that's gonna allow you to purchase a house. So everybody from the Bay Area. Hi friends, I am Lori Hart. I am with the Parchester Village Neighborhood Council, AKA PVNC, and I am the secretary for that organization here in the wonderful town of Parchester. My community activism began, well, let me back it up. The wonderful Rita that you have seen before, Guthrie Johnson. Before I moved back to Parchester, I would be visiting my mom, and she would drive up the street, and she would always tell my sister and I need y'all to come get involved. I said, okay, Rita, I'm gonna do that. I need y'all to come get involved. Not to go across the street to my sister's house and say, now what did Rita want? What day is this? And we could never figure out what day it was. We were supposed to come up here and get involved. Now, though I didn't live here at the time, I remember saying one day I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna get involved. Well, was it number 45 came president? I had had enough of enough. And I was so tired, sick and tired of just being sick and tired. And I said, I gotta do something to make a change. And I said, well, I'm gonna start with my community. I was talking to my brother and he mentioned that Rita was across the street from here in one of the churches. I said, good, because I need to go talk to her. So it was a Tuesday afternoon. I went over, I said, hey, Rita, you know, you've been begging me to get involved with the neighborhood council. Well, I'm ready. So whenever you guys start, because it was during COVID, whenever you guys start, you know, let me know. She said, well, it's Tuesday. What you doing Thursday? I said, well, nothing. Why don't you come up here to the church and help? And my feet haven't stopped running ever since. So I came with a call, and Garetha was going to make sure that she answered the call. So that had to be during COVID. So since COVID, I have been tirelessly and wonderfully working with Rita to improve Parchester in all of their needs. There are so many companies and corporations that drive by every day and they don't pay attention to this neighborhood. When you see that mural, it's gonna say, pay attention to me. So it's gonna give credit to a neighborhood that, you know, that's withstood since circa 49, 75 years, we've been hanging. And so I think that long term, when I'm gone, you know, my children's children will be able to look at that mural and remember, yeah, well, you know, grandma lived there and auntie lived there, and they can tell the story. I got great-greats now, you know. So, and if I keep living, I'll have great-great-great-greats. And they can come by and see that and know that, you know, their family and ancestry came from Parchester. So there are a lot of memories growing up here. We had roller derby right here at the center. And man, that was the end all to be all. I could not wait to come here and to get my seat. We had a set of twins, and each of them would come up to me because I was known to be a little boisterous and tell them, okay, you gotta be on the good twin side this time. You gotta be on the bad twin side. So I looked forward to our roller derbies, and you know, they would be here maybe every 2 weeks, and we just really were a community. I look back at some of the pictures and I didn't realize that a lot of the neighbors from around the community in San Pablo, it was like several people, a ton of people would come to do that. Roller derby used to be extremely big, and in the city period, but specifically in Parchester, because we had our own team. Oh yeah, I mean, it was, we had a league. And so in fact, one of the gentlemen that founded the roller derby team still lives here. He still lives in Parchester. His name is Don. I'm not sure of the last name, but Don and the twins, Eldridge and Deldridge, but commonly referred to as the good twin and the bad twin. Yes. I mean, people would even be like on the basketball courts looking down, because that was like the best seat ever. Now, I was never gonna go up there, but I did always get there early and get on the rim so I could see everything, because you know, they would pick up chairs, they would run after each other, they would fight. It was just like wonderful. Also, one of my favorite memories from Parchester was that we truly were a community. Like, our doors weren't locked. You could go into the house and write a note and take something and say so-and-so took this. That kind of camaraderie as I become older and I talk to people, they didn't have the kind of childhood that we have. So when they say it truly takes a village, it really did. You know, I was raised up. You know, I know they always fight Gen X against this Gen and why people don't want to mess with us because we didn't have all those buffers. You know, if you wanted some fruit, you picked it off the tree, you rubbed it on your shirt, you went about your business. If you wanted some water, you dare not come in the house or buy bottled water. They didn't have such a thing. You grab that water hose. I think it made us who we were. I think a lot of the diseases and the allergies that children have today is because they didn't eat that fruit and they weren't drinking from the hose. There was something in that hose, you know, that kept us and built us strong. So I think I could solve a lot of the health problems. Drink out the hose and pick you some fruit off the tree. You'd be great.
All right, cool. Third panel, bro. Go. 2 done. Nice.
Hi, my name is Ivan Malave, and I was with the city of Richmond for 12 years, but presently I am the youth mentor for the Rosie's Service Trust. I've been a part of the Parchester mural painting since the very beginning, from day one. I've always enjoyed working with Richard and the mural paintings because it reminds me of our first project with some of the original Parchester youth. And they did it with numbers. They were able to go before the city council and ask for the money, and we were granted the money. And it's just been an exciting journey. And it's crazy because with this one, they were able to come back and be a part of the big picture. That's been exciting. I sent Richard a video of when we asked him before the council to ask for the money. Okay, but let me show you this one. Wait a minute. And these are some of our kids that have been doing the projects for the last 3-4 years. And they're excited about it. They wanted to share. So we're gonna start over here. Tell me your name.
Jonathan Guzman, and I didn't do this project, but I did the garden project, and I really wanted to do it this year because I didn't get to do it last year in the other group. So what I wanted to say was that go to Pernod's Park. I always used to pass by Parchester, and I would usually wouldn't see anything, like it was all blank, and then a couple of years later they started painting it, and I wanted to join in. My parents didn't know.
It was awesome coming back in July with the young people. For them to be able to see what they started back in 2018, 2019, and to come into the present. And they'll be able to go back in 20 years and say, I did that, I was a part of that. That's history in the making. You know, I love it. We needed some money, and I gathered the kids, and I said, young people, come here. How do you like doing volunteer work? Oh, we love it. I said, okay, we're gonna go before the city council, and I want you guys to speak from your heart. What I loved, we didn't coach them. They just came straight from the heart because they love community work and love the mural painting. So it was really exciting. And do you know that they gave us the money even before we left the place? Remember, Richard? They came outside and they said, you know what? Those kids are so good. We're giving you guys the grant. We did. It was really exciting. Really exciting. And I took some beautiful pictures that day when I came back, because I was like, no, I want to bring back some of the originals, some of the old school. So being able to bring back Jackie and Elizabeth, it was just really awesome. Hey, Rita, come here, look. And to see now they're in their 20s. You know, back then they were 10, 11, 9 years old. And it's about continuing to pour and work with the young people. And that's what it's all about. And I just can't wait. I can't wait.
My name is Rene Garcia. I'm a full-time artist and graphic designer. I got involved with public art in Richmond through a fellow artist, Richard, you know, as everybody knows. He's definitely like a pillar in the Richmond communities. So I developed my art skills by practice. You know, practice makes perfect, or practice makes perfection. So, you know, just sharpening my tools every day and try to draw or paint something every day. And it kind of keeps me going.
We can work on buffing that, and then, you know, you can start spraying the grass maybe, or we'll figure it out. Yeah. We'll game plan it, but we gotta iPad the grass and then figure out, what colors are the.
You got a picture of it, or?
Yeah, I got the grass.
The best piece of advice I can give an artist is definitely practice. You know, keep creating, don't overthink too much on what you're actually making, but as long as you're making something, it always leads to more ideas and it always sharpens your skills. The way I stay motivated is through travel and friends and seeing other people's creations and other artists, hanging out with other artists and getting inspired by them. But definitely traveling is an important thing for me. It definitely influences me to create, and I always get ideas by traveling.
Want another glass?
That's how I was trying to start babysitting my little niece. But she's all the way in Antioch. She with my mom.
She like painting?
I just want to bring her to get her out of the house.
Oh, yeah.
And get her off the tablet.
My name is Stephanie Nye. I'm an Associate Administrative Analyst with the City of Richmond Community Services Department Recreation Division, and I'm the Program Manager for Richmond Love Your Block.
Just me releasing. Thank you, Jesus.
I've been working on the Parchester Village mural project for 8 years. My favorite part of the mural process was just seeing over 500 volunteers come together, come out, show up, and paint 88 panels of the wall. Like, I loved seeing the community engagement, community involvement. I think that everything went the way that we wanted it to go, and even above and beyond our expectations. It was really heartwarming to see everyone come out and support this project.
Okay, all right. Dang, man, look at me. Yeah. I think it's beautiful. I think this is something that the community needs, you know? Just come together and release some type of stress or steam for the greater good. So that's what's up. I think it's beautiful. I love how it's like a big coloring book. So I love how, you know, you have someone with an idea, they sketch something out, and then a whole bunch of people just come and they bring it to life. So that's what's up. I love it. I do.
But I also, at the same time, I really love everything else about it. Like, I love Richard's art style. I love how he just makes everything flow, and come together. And I'm sure John was a huge part of that too. I love how they just brought all these ideas and made it into one cohesive, lengthy, long mural. And the nature components too.
See, the best piece of advice I've received as an artist is show me the money, you know. Starting out in 4th grade, where I was drawing airplanes with a friend of mine, and then that led me to being the guy who put the projects on the board and drawing them in chalk. Then later studying art, both as an undergraduate at Texas Tech and passing through the U.S. Army and being an artist for the Army.
name is Michael Connors. I'm a professional artist from the West Coast. I'm motivated to create by the constant need to express myself. It's what I've always done, and it's what I always want to do, so I'll probably just always keep doing that. Doing commission works for clients, doing murals or commissioned paintings. I use a number of mediums. I like to use pencils, paint, graphic design, and I think keeping it fresh keeps me creative and keeps my skills sharp. I got involved with public artwork in Richmond because I had friends that were Richmond natives, and we painted a couple of murals in preparation to doing this one. And then one day I got the invite to join this project and to be a part of history, and I knew I had to say yes.
The first 14 panels, we primarily used brushes. I did the portraits. I was the lead portrait artist, and I would print photos, use the iPad, and mix paint every day to paint those. And then once we moved on from those more intensive panels, we started using spray paint. We could move a little quicker, and you know, this fish took me maybe 2 days of just me really flowing and layering. I work dark to light. I work the same as if I'm oil painting.
The best piece of advice I've received as an artist is to always stay true to what I believe in and to always work as hard as I can. You know, it's simple and it's straightforward, but I think if you do those two things, you know, you're gonna be all right.
Renee, what's the quote of the day? Speed it up, slow it down. Speed it up, slow it down. Speed it up, slow it down. A little script.
You're the artist, bro. Remember that. Oh, that's what. Man, I hella forgot. You're looking big. Look at that. I like what's down there. Speed it up, slow it down. Speed it up, slow it down. Yeah. If you want to go a little, just like a tiny bit bigger.
Bro, you're just gonna make it bigger until I can't no more.
It's all good, never mind. Just leave it alone.
Just a tiny more.
Don't stress out, bro. It's all good.
My name is Mauricio. You can just call me Mar. What I do is I'm an all-around artist, graphic design, mural work, grab a camera, could even photograph, anything, all-around artist. The best piece of advice as an artist is to keep creating, you know, keep going, you know, hit that gas. The moment I realized I wanted to do art for the rest of my life was when my teacher had us do this art project and had the whole class draw a bird. She sold it like in the auction and I like won 150 bucks. Like when I was a fourth grader. Yeah, I don't know. It took off from there. You know?
She gave you guys money?
Yeah, she like, she put it up for auction at this like, I don't know, museum or something. And I guess it was just lined up with, you know, kids art. And like, yeah, I guess I won an auction for like 150.
I just want to start with number one, total years in this project that myself and the neighborhood council and Stephanie have been on this project. It's been 9 years total with all the grants, including the 5 years from this project. So 5 years in the making and counting, going on a decade on this wall. So a lot has been invested in this project. So almost a decade. So total panels from start to finish, from the beginning all the way towards the end, is 107 panels. Total community paint days have been 14. All in total, from the beginning, from the first year to now, has been 14 community paint days. I've had a total of over 1,000 volunteers join all of our community paint days. The total length of the mural is 21,266 feet. It's a lot of work. My style has changed throughout the times, multiple times, and I think it's going to change even more as the years. I think just how we as people have chapters in our lives, I think our art does too. And I think how you evolve as a person, your style eventually kind of evolves with it. So I think it's always constantly evolving. So, but it's gone through its many chapters.
I think that this mural project was really this, like, part of an art movement, really, in Richmond, because there's been a lot of momentum in Richmond to create more public art. And I think the fact that this lines an entire community is really incredible, but also important. And it shows that the community cares about the place that they live, and that the city cares too, and all these organizations and partners that came together to support it.
One of my greatest memories of living here in Parchester was during the summer we would have a block party over the whole village. And the city would come in and block the streets, and on each street you would have like different items. Like there would be like the dessert streets, and you'd have the meat streets and the homemade ice cream, and everybody would be in and out of everybody's houses, and it was just a day of everybody celebrating. And I don't know what it was for, who started it and why it stopped, but I can remember every Sunday that the whole village would be a block party, and we would just be eating and having fun, and the grown-ups were doing grown-up things. And I'd be like, man, I wish I could do what they could do too. But we were busy, you know, running out each other's houses, having fun, eating stuff. And so I miss the camaraderie or the community of that.